When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work.
We have been saying this all this while, that men are the ones that need this relationship more than women. And then when a woman is not in a relationship, she's happy. If she's not looking for the relationship, she's happy. She's happy. She doesn't need the man. So far, she has friends, she has a community. She's good. But if a man is single, he doesn't have any woman in his life, he's miserable. But then this particular man decided to go as far as saying that we women, we are actually the ones that can help men to be a better person. Let me show you all the video.
Relationships. They need it more than women. There's this cartoon of a woman in her 30s who didn't find romantic love and is now living with cats. The reality is she's fine. Yeah. When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work. When a man doesn't have a relationship, he pours it into conspiracy theory, porn, and misogyny. Wow. Men need relationships much more than women. So this is how we get men more economically viable. Better tax policies, more vocational programming, and also, I think the public policy that would benefit men the most is universal child care. Because we need the greatest level of self-harm, the zone of quote-unquote suicide for a man, is the year after he's divorced. And the greatest cause of divorce is not a lack of values, it's not infidelity, it's economic strain. We need to put more money in the hands of younger people. And my generation, which has registered a disproportionate amount of wealth, needs to pay it back. We have a debt, but we cannot hold young men accountable for my privilege. It's just not fair.
It was kind of making sense at a point, but for me, I feel like later on in the video, it was making it as if we have to be the one to fix the issue. Women are the one that's supposed to fix the issue. And women are not going to fix the issue because the issue, we're not the one that is causing the issue, right? Men need to get their shit together. If you want to be in a relationship with a woman and you want the relationship to thrive, you need to put in the work. Because men are already seeing being in a relationship with a woman as the solution to anything they want, any of their problems. Just get a woman. I want this done. I want a peaceful woman. Get a woman. Get a woman. Get a woman. They feel like women are supposed to be the ones to put in all the work. Why they just sit down and cross their legs? What do you guys think about this video? I have interesting reaction to share with you. So let's watch these videos together. I'll see you at the end of the videos.
Men need relationships. They need it more than women. There's this cartoon of a woman in her 30s who didn't find romantic love and is now living with cats. The reality is she's fine. Yeah. When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work. When a man doesn't have a relationship, he pours it into conspiracy theory, porn, and misogyny.
Men need relationships more than women because they want a woman to delegate their life like their mother. Men want relationships, not partners, because they don't need the relationship, they need the woman. They need the laundry done and the food cooked and the house cleaned, but they don't want any of the emotional responsibility that comes from sharing your life with someone. But that offers nothing to the woman aside from giving her someone to care for. So men need to become fully functional adults so that they can evolve to a place where they're ready to receive a relationship. Women do fine when they're single because their lives get easier, but a man's life gets harder after a breakup because they've essentially lost their administrator. But this also comes down to emotion. Women spend so much of their relationships trying to give love and receive it. So when they leave their romantic relationships, they can pour that love into friends, family, and hobbies. But men spend most of their relationships trying to avoid connection. They're getting frustrated when their wives tell them they want to talk. They refuse to acknowledge their wife when she walks through the door, and they don't even want to go out on a date night. So men isolate after a breakup because their wives were the ones who were trying to keep them social. Women spend so much of bad marriages begging for closeness. So we talk about women having glow-ups post-divorce, but the glow-up is really just getting back their time and energy so that they can put it into something else. If a man would be lost without a woman, then he's not ready to be in a relationship with one. They have to be able to give love and be able to receive it, because women cannot be the fixers of men, and they can't be the only means of completeness.
Men need relationships. They need it more than women. There's this cartoon of a woman in her 30s who didn't find romantic love and is now living with cats. The reality is she's fine. When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work. When a man doesn't have a relationship, he pours it into conspiracy theory, porn, and misogyny. Men need relationships much more than women, so this is how we get men more economically viable.
Women are not the solution to men's problems. If you didn't know who that was, that's Scott Galloway, and he often talks about how young men are struggling and yada yada yada. And he has a lot of good points. You know, he's not wrong in a lot of the things he says, and yet somehow he ends up at the conclusion that and therefore men need to become more economically viable so that they will be more attractive to be able to get a woman to fix their problems. It's almost like he gets so close to seeing the point and then he still missed it. Yes, he's right. Men struggle more being single. You know, they have more problems with mental health and antisocial behavior and addiction. The list goes on and on. But the reason is because they've been socialized to believe that they will get a woman to meet all of their physical and emotional needs. And that all they have to do is be able to provide for her. So if they go to work and pay all the bills, then they should have a woman to do everything else for them. Meanwhile, women are out here saying pretty loud and clear that they don't want to be in a relationship where they are essentially just a tool to meet a man's need. They would rather just work and provide for themselves, and like he says, that's what women are doing. They pour into their work, they pour into their friends, they create community, and frankly, they're thriving. They do not retreat into anger and resentment and violence. So yes, to some extent, women still consider a man's economic prospects when they're considering whether or not to have a relationship with a man, to get married, to have children, etc. But they're no longer just satisfied with a man who only just goes to work and pays the bills and that's it, because they can do that. Okay, they can do that themselves and then they don't have to sort of meet another person's needs. They have the full and complete freedom to live their life on their terms and center their own needs. So there needs to be more in it for them now if they're going to enter into these relationships. The biggest one is she getting her needs met? Is the man actually coming into the relationship wanting to meet her emotional and physical needs? The truth is, most of the time, they're not. And therein lies the crux of the issue. Because as you see, they're barely able to look after their own needs when they're left to their own devices. It's almost like they can't look after their own physical and emotional needs. So how are they going to look after another person's needs, let alone, let's say, a whole family? So maybe that's the issue that needs to be addressed first, is for men to sort out their own issues on their own before they even consider entering into a relationship with anybody else. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work. When a man doesn't have a relationship, he pours it into conspiracy theory, porn, and misogyny.
If women can be okay without relationships, so can men. Also, stop prescribing women as the cure. Men don't need girlfriends to rescue them from isolation. They need community, accountability, and friends who actually ask them how they are doing. And men can do that by being the change they want to see in the world. Women have been building support systems forever. Book clubs, group chats, therapy, wine nights. Men could do the same thing, but instead, we keep acting like all the emotional labor should come free with a girlfriend. No, that's over. This is exactly why so many women are opting out, because they're tired of being a mom with benefits. It is gross. Scott Galloway is almost there, but still missing the point. He isn't wrong that men are struggling, but he keeps naming the symptom, loneliness, without naming the cause, patriarchy. It's the same system that tells men not to cry, not to depend on anyone, and not to be vulnerable, and then acts shocked when they end up isolated. And through it all, we keep circling back to what's best for men. Apparently, once men start suffering, it's a crisis. But when women spent decades juggling childcare, careers, and the mental load, that was called a lifestyle choice. So, if we actually want healthier men and healthier relationships, stop handing women the bill for men's emotional deficits. You don't fix patriarchy by dating it.
When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work. When a man doesn't have a relationship, he pours it into conspiracy theory, porn, and misogyny.
I don't care. I really do not give a shit. I so do not give a shit about this. It is insane. Hi, I'm Patty Asai. I expose the lies that keep women enslaved and broke and give you the confidence and tools to finally break free. The reason I don't give a shit about this is because they insinuate that this epidemic is a result of women not wanting to be in relationships, women not wanting kids, women not wanting to be married, and that it's our fault. But what they don't tell you is this epidemic is directly the result of the patriarchy. Patriarchy told men that it's gay to have close male relationships and close male bonds. Patriarchy told men that they shouldn't be emotionally vulnerable, that they shouldn't express their emotions, that they shouldn't evolve as partners and take on the emotional burdens in their relationship, that they shouldn't take care of the kids like women, they shouldn't take care of the house like women, and it is their job just to be the providers, protectors, and strong. And it didn't matter if they met the emotional needs of their women because the women were going to be there because they needed men. But now that women have finally woken up and understood that we no longer need men to be happy and require our partners to be true partners, to be vulnerable, to take on the emotional burdens of a relationship just like we do, to help us with the kids, to help us with the house. And unless we get that we're good, the men are pissed. It's like you have benefited from patriarchy for hundreds and hundreds of years. And now that it's no longer serving you, and now that it's causing you to be alone, sitting in your mother's basement, playing video games all day and not having a woman, it's our damn fault. Give me a break. What people like Scott Galloway need to do, instead of talking about what women are not wanting, start talking about how to make men evolve so that we do want them. And stop blaming women for something that is not our fault. Because until men change, until men step up to the level of our expectations, we are good at being with our friends, being with our hobbies. We are happy as a clam. And if we can be happy with our relationship, so can they. It's their fault if they cannot. And I'm not going to feel sorry for men who've benefited from this patriarchal structure for hundreds of years and lower my standards so that they can be happy. Follow me for more real truths.
When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work. When a man doesn't have a relationship, he pours it into conspiracy theory, porn, and misogyny. Men need relationships much more than women. So this
is why patriarchy requires mandatory heterosexual marriage to force women to be the shock absorbers for male dysfunction inside the home to spare the larger community and society from having to deal with it. Men abandon boys emotionally and in terms of mentorship and social leadership because such investments do not yield individual pay, praise, or pleasure. So through marriage, women are expected to finish raising the man, right? That forces her to coercively co-regulate his nervous system, his emotions, or to at least be the target for his aggression so that he keeps it at home. Terrorize her to soothe him so we don't have to deal with it. And Scott G says it right there. Women productively invest their energies into community and self-development when they are not forced to be the shock absorbers for male dysfunction. And that's why we're seeing so much woman bashing right now. From that New York Times article saying, did women ruin the workplace? To all the right-wing hysteria about how young women voted for Mayor Mondami in New York City by overwhelming margins. It's a big problem for supremacy systems when women refuse to be the scapegoat and fuel for patriarchal dysfunction. Later in their conversation, Scott G is like, we should do universal childcare support. Like, that is so important. That's going to help couples and people get married more. And it's not about the kids. Like, I am very much pro universal childcare support, but Scott G wants it because he's saying we need to get women to be shock absorbing wives again. We can't get men to participate in their households or be good partners or parent their own children. But maybe if we got them some daycare, then maybe women will come back to the table and, pick up the slack and do something with these men. And it's all BS. Hi, I'm Coco. I do deep dives on patriarchal BS over on my YouTube at Paraculture Coco. Check it out if you like.
I also agree with the fact that if women can stay single forever and be happy, men can do that as well. But the way men see relationship, they see relationship, or they see being in a relationship with a woman as solving their problems, right? They feel like, oh, this house is too quiet, or this house is too dirty. I need to get a woman. Or I don't eat good food. I need to get a woman. I need to get a woman to fix this for me. I need to get a woman to do this. That is why even when they're in a relationship with that woman and you stop doing those things, probably due to sickness or anything, they leave you because they are there with you because of the things that you're doing for them, right? So I believe that men can also stay single if they work on themselves. They can stay single and be happy and don't always need women. And there is no doubt that men actually need relationship more than women. I feel like this has already been established, right? Because before now, women are always the one being pressured to be with men. Even till now, people still pressure women to be with men, right? But I feel like now women are now realizing that they are the prize. Men are not the prize, right? Men are were never the prize. Women are the prize. I feel like this video is all over the place. But what I'm trying to say is men need women more than women need men in a relationship. And women are not the ones that are going to fix the issue. I kind of agree with what that man was saying, but then I feel like he kind of took it at the end, which I don't agree with. We are not going to solve the issue. Men need to work on themselves if they want to be in a better relationship, or they remain single, because women have worked on themselves. They can be alone and they don't need men. Like, do you get it? But them, they need us. So they need to work on themselves to be able to get us, because we are the value, we are the price. You guys, do you agree with what I said? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Respectfully, as always, Sugar Mary Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Just like and share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in my next one, guys.